Hi, I'm Carolyn Wainscott, also known as Ma'am Granny, and today on www.faithcrafts.com I'm going to show you how to put together this Last Supper wall hanging. For the wall hanging you will need 2 yards of 55 to 60 inch fabric. This is upholstery fabric that I am using. You will need about 8 yards of border to go around. I chose to use 3 ribbons that I had, and I edge stitched those together to create a 5-inch wide border. It's your choice. You will also need a lace tablecloth. This was a Last Supper lace tablecloth that I've had, and they are still available. I looked online and found several, and I fussy cut the center piece, and when you get done, this is what your tablecloth is going to look like. So, wouldn't be good for the table anymore. This wall hanging is actually a portable one. These can be removed, the lace motifs, because that way the background can be used for other occasions. Here's the velvet background all finished with its mitered borders, and different scenes can be put inside. So in essence it's just a big wonderful bulletin board. The lace needs to be used like this. It needs to be put through, use fabric stiffy on it, or a really heavy dose of starch. Lay it flat so that you get a nice flat piece and let it dry for the whole thing. In order to be able to take it off and put it on, I came up with tie tacks and created my own decorative attachments. And now all these pieces will come off as easily as you saw them go on and something else put on. So I'm going to show you now how to make the tie tack attachments. So now let's put the border on. I actually started in this corner, and I started sewing on the outside of the ribbon. And since this is upholstery fabric, it has this webbed backing. I am folding that back onto the fabric and putting the border on top of that so that it has a nice clean finished edge here. I'm using a blanket stitch. It's one of my very favorite stitches on the machine, and I've widened it as far as it will go. It goes pretty quickly. When the outside was sewn all the way around, this was laying flat, and I came back and started stitching on the inside of the ribbon, again with a buttonhole stitch. I have 3 sides of the wall hanging done with the ribbon border, and since I'm working on velvet, I have it pinned, because velvet wants to creep and pull and wants to distort whatever you're sewing. Distorts if you're sewing it to itself. So if you're a beginner sewer, as beautiful as velvet is, start with something else, unless you're a glutton for punishment. So I'm getting ready to secure the miter on the 3rd corner. I actually didn't have the border pinned enough, and I had to take it off the machine and repin. To sew the miter, I'm going to cut my thread and come out to the point and sew back in. I'm using the blanket stitch on the inside, just like I did the blanket stitch on the outside. This is the rod pocket, and I have folded it back so that the miter doesn't close up the rod pocket so you can't get the rod in. So I'm going to have to come back and either hand tack or bar tack this in place. I'm using the widest stitch and the longest stitch that it has. That's a 6x6 on my machine. Nothing quite gives you the complete elegant look of velvet, but nothing can make you pull your hair out like velvet either. I had this beautiful burgundy velvet, and that's what I decided to use. If I had had a piece of nice felt in this color, I would have used that. So I hope this helps you with some ideas for a beautiful large wall hanging. This piece will be hanging in my living room, and you can join Fave Crafts also on Facebook and see what else is going on over there, or come on back to www.favecrafts.com. There are a lot of beautiful home deck ideas and a lot of other craft ideas.